Hello, good evening, and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. How is everybody tonight? Hope you're all well. Hope you had a good weekend. So, you join me for another tabletop role-playing game deep dive. This evening, we are going to be taking a look at Paleomythic, a role-playing game of stone and sorcery from OSPREY Games. Looking forward to sharing this one with you. Something very different. So we'll be taking a look very soon. Of course, with any of these RPG deep dives, always a bit of a caveat. I am no RPG expert. I played role-playing games back when I was in early college days. I have been absent from the scene for many years, and so now I'm sort of coming back to it, finding just how many games are available now and how much they have changed in my absence. So each game is a bit of a discovery for me, and hopefully this is a good journey for you to join along in to discover these games. If you have any questions, do leave them in the chat or leave a comment, and I'll do my best to answer those in due course. Mystical, are you all set and ready to join? Yes. All right. Let's bring you on in then. Good evening.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Looking forward to exploring this game. This is one thing. It
looks really good.
It does. You see, this is what I love about role-playing games, because each week we go to a different world. There's always something new to discover, and even though maybe some of the games have touched upon similar sort of settings, this is a setting we have not explored at all, is it? The sort of the prehistoric setting. It's
so cool.
So I'm excited about this, because who doesn't like dinosaurs? All right, let's go and take a look at the book. So here we go. I have it here. I guess this is, do they call this a digest-sized book? I think they do, don't they? It's smaller than some of the other books that we've looked at, but I actually really like this size of book because it's very portable. It easily fits into front pockets on a rucksack, and I like that with some of these games. As you would expect from OSPREY Games, of course they are a huge publisher, so the quality of the print, its layout, really clear, really high quality paper, beautiful graphics in there, very easy to read. So quality of the book is excellent. We're looking at some 86 pages in total. Everything that you need to get started playing in this prehistoric world. There is a little adventure at the back of the book, to which when we get to that point we will not focus in on that. We do not want to ruin it for any prospective players. But what we will do is we'll take a little bit of a look at the character creation, because I think that's quite unique with this particular game. We've got some interesting character types as I was looking through. All right, so what we'll do then is we will actually go to the digital version of the game. It's always handy that the games do have a digital version so that you can have it maybe on your tablet or on your phone. And this is, of course, helpful for quick referencing rules information. Many of these are hyperlinked so that you're able to find the info straight away. All right, so, I mean, straight away from the front cover, I have questions, and it gets the imagination going, doesn't it?
All the questions. All the questions.
I of course started to think, not that it's similar, but it made me think of the kind of the Skull Island and King Kong, things like that. I know it's different, but that's where my imagination sort of went, with a sort of primitive civilization sort of setting, lots of jungles. What about you? What did the image conjure for you?
It was very much similar, and some Indiana Jones as well.
Ah,
Just because that jungle, that is then that misty.
Yes.
I was like, oh, I like this.
Yes. No. Okay. That's cool. No, and again, because of this setting, I think there's quite a lot you could do with it. It's interesting you say Indiana Jones, because of course you could kind of do it, but from the opposite side of time.
Yeah.
So you could have that ancient temple, but you'd be the original people looting the temple, not necessarily some archaeologist in the far future. But as we will discover, this game is not set on planet Earth. It is somewhere different, isn't it? So, okay, let's jump on in. So I'm going to look through the copy I have in front of us here. Again, nice and easy layout there. I like it when you can basically fit the entire book onto on one page as far as its contents. It's very, very easy, which is good. It gives us a bit of an introduction. And so straight away, what is Paleomythic? Paleomythic is a stone and sorcery role-playing game. Have you ever heard that term being used before?
I haven't. This is a first for me.
Right. A phrase coined to describe a genre in which the adventure concepts of sword and sorcery are used in a Stone Age setting. That's quite cool. I like that. It goes through, and of course, always considering if you are a new player, it tells you a little bit about role-playing games in general. And then tells us about what dice. So this is a D6 based game. So as long as you've got a couple of D6, you'll be well away. So it then tells us about the actual setting. Ancient Mu. So Ancient Mu is a large... I'm going to go Mu. What do you think here? Ancient Mu is a large continent that has existed for many millennia. It once was the home of great and terrible beasts known as saurians, creatures that have seemed to have vanished from the world. Ancient Mu is now the domain of man, although there still remains many areas of the continent that are wholly untamed, where monsters and strange beastmen dwell. So, we've got an interesting setting. Again, I do think of that sort of Skull Island setting, even though, of course, this is an entire continent to explore. And we have humans and we have beastmen. It then takes us into the actual game mechanics. So this book doesn't hang about. It gives us one page of summary of, okay, this is the setting. Let's go straight on in. And it's telling us about tests, but it says Paleomythic uses an easy and straightforward game mechanic to resolve activity. This is used throughout the rules and involves the roll of several dice to make a test. So to make a test, roll dice equal to the current number of the trait possessed by the character. If any of the dice show a 6, the test is a success. If the character has a trait that is applicable to the test, the player gets to roll an additional die, called a bonus die. Again, if any of the dice show a 6, the test is a success. This is very, very easy, isn't it?
Yeah. It's almost like, I don't know, I want to say it's like too easy. It feels like there should be more.
but it means that people can focus in on the adventure and on the story. It's less about the actual, necessarily the mechanics of die rolling and having to have every little bit of, let's get a bonus here and let's increase this armor value there. Yeah. I like just getting pools of dice. Every time it's a 6, it's a success. That's all you need, which is great. It does have a flip side to it, because we have flaws. So it does make our characters a little bit more three-dimensional. So whenever a flaw applies to a test, you reduce the number of dice rolled by 1. And then you can have tools. So if a character makes use of the correct tool for the task, roll a bonus die. So you do get pluses and minuses depending on the test, depending on your character's traits, depending on what tools they have. I do like that it does provide helpful examples all the way through the actual rules, which are great. Nice little call outs there. And then here we go, right at the end here, game mechanics summary. So to make a test, roll die equal to the current number of traits. Any of the die rolls a 6, it's a success. Gain a bonus die for a relevant trait. Lose a die for a relevant flaw. Gain a bonus die for the correct tool. Tools break if the tool bonus die shows a 1. And weapon effects occur if the tool bonus die shows a 6. And that's basically it. And this does everything throughout the entire game. So easy. Good evening, Roger. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're just about starting to look through Paleomythic from OSPREY Games. This is... Go on, sorry.
I will be right back, Monkey. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. This is a game set on the ancient continent of Mu. I'm getting it wrong. But I guess what you want to think of, was it called 10,000 BC? Prehistoric man movie. That possibly might give you a good sort of visual idea. Well, I think that movie was mostly based in sort of desert kind of terrain, wasn't it? And this is depicting characters more within a jungle kind of environment. Yes, you've seen that movie? Okay, cool. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good film. So here we go. We jump straight to character creation. There is a character sheet at the back of the book, as you would expect, but there is, of course, a web link to be able to download it and print it out or use it on your tablet. And so here we go. We can go through character creation pretty easily. So maybe, Roger, if you wanted to join on in and tell us what character you're creating as we go through the various steps here. So then, we can pick our gender. You can use one of well, you can roll a die to pick a random gender as you see fit. You can then pick your age. Age is usually descriptive rather than noted as a number of years. So we have adolescent, young, adult, mature, seasoned, and old. So You can choose one of those, or you can roll. Then you can choose a name. I thought this was quite interesting. So a short or a long name. Oh, I can see you're joining in. So you've gone for a mature male so far. Short or long name?
Long name.
Long name. All right. Okay. So let's take a look then. What long names? I feel like we need to have a dice roll at this point. Let's.
Yep.
Yep. So here we go. White dice. Well, actually, here we go. Red dice for long name. White dice for short name. So we have both options. You see, it's a typical monkey dice roll where I want to give you guys options, but you basically have the same result. So it is Arn or Anu, Balor or Balora. Okay.
Ooh,
so
I like that one.
You have your male and female style of names there. There is... in the appendix, there is a much larger chart that you can roll on. Oh, hang on. That's the one we want. So, typical dice rolls here. So, there we go. All right, so we then move on to traits, flaws, and talents. So, traits represent areas of natural ability in which the character excels. Trait gives the character an advantage in tasks for which the trait is applicable. So, for example, the resilient trait would help if a character was forced to endure hardships such as extreme cold or starvation. I don't like it when a game says extreme cold or starvation is the example. It doesn't bode well for the character, does it? Yeah?
No.
All right. So then we have flaws. So flaws represent areas of weakness, such as being sickly or careless. So these adversely affect tests. So remember, a trait, if you're doing a test and you have that trait, you get a bonus die. If you're doing a test and you have a flaw in that area, then one of your die is removed. Talents represent the experience, skills, and sometimes specialist training a character has acquired. Each talent grants a unique ability, which might confer an advantage in certain circumstances. So then, players choose the number of talents that their characters start with. The more talents a character chooses, the fewer traits that character can have at the beginning of the game. The maximum number of talents a character can begin with is 3. So this is interesting. In which case, they can also select 3 traits. The minimum number of talents a character can begin with is 1, in which case they can select 5 traits. So we have a table on this. So let's just have a quick look. This is going to determine how we're going to create our character. So your starting talent will give you starting traits of 5. 2 will give you 4, and 3 will give you 3. So in my mind, I'm going to go with starting talents of 3, so starting traits of 3. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. But again, you can do this randomly by rolling a dice. So we do have, again, more random tables. Tables are good. So we have traits table A, traits table B. So if I was going to have my starting talents, in fact, actually, it might be easier. If I have starting talent as 1, I can have 5 traits. So effectively, I could then roll my dice 5 times, couldn't I? So what do we have? We have, and of course, we have the trait and flaw on both of these. So it does say characters can start with up to 2 flaws. For each flaw, a character gains an additional trait. As might be evident, a character cannot possess a flaw that is the opposite of a trait they possess. Okay. So you're going to have to decide.
That's why
then.
it has the corresponding flaw to the traits so that you don't overlap it.
Yeah. So let's just have a look here. What do we have? We have accurate, agile, aware, brave, charismatic, dexterous, fortunate, guileful, resilient, strong, willful, and wise. Now, so Roger, you're going to go for 2 floors. Okay. And how many traits are you going to have? I feel like I want to be agile and accurate and dexterous. So that's 3 traits I've got. I want to also be resilient. So that's 4. Let's go with the 4, which means do I have to have I can have. It does say you can choose none, 1, or 2 floors. Well, here we go. We could roll a dice and see what I get. Oh, okay. So I get 2 floors. Typical. So I'm going to be. I'm going to be unassuming as a flaw. I feel I'm going to talk more with my abilities with my bow and arrow and my nimbleness, and speaking is not necessarily going to be one of my strong points. And maybe, I don't want to be careless. Or unlucky. They don't sound good. Maybe I'll be passive. Maybe I'll be unassuming and passive.
Oh no.
Well. What about you then, Mystical?
What did you pick?
I went for accurate, agile, aware, and dexterous. So that's my 4.
So what if you were unassuming and cautious?
Oh, that's interesting. So leave the brave and the charismatic. Yeah, okay, that sounds better. I'm trying to think of a sort of a kind of a rangery type of character, as I always do. You know me online.
Well, and it makes sense for a ranger to be cautious. Maybe you know, in your past, what made you cautious was you stepped in traps because you weren't cautious. And, you know, it was like, now you're like, just like, I don't know about this.
I learned survival the hard way.
Exactly.
I like it. Okay, that's cool. What about you? What type of character are you starting to form just from this simple table of traits?
Oh, I don't know. I like the idea of having a flaw of being clumsy.
Okay, yeah.
And then being accurate when I use a weapon. But if I try to walk, it's just like I fall over everywhere. Like, just I can't.
That's
it's
awesome.
Like, how do you shoot? How do you shoot things? So I would choose then accurate and dexterous.
Yeah.
I would choose those. And then I think I like resilient.
Okay, yes.
But then clumsy. And I kind of like oblivious too, because it makes a lot of sense as to why I'm clumsy.
Oh, okay. That's... Yeah, just walking straight into things.
Yeah. You know, just walk, trip over roots and vines and...
I do
What's
like how
this?
your character has flashes of absolute awesomeness, and then the other
I know.
times just a complete, not a fool, just unlucky, just unlucky with.
This is my life.
foot placement.
This is my life. I'm on flat, dry ground.
let alone running through tree canopies and swinging on vines. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
How about you guys in the chat? What type of character have you created? Oh, Rogue is saying fortunate and willful. Okay, so being lucky with an ability to resist failure. Like it. I'll let you maybe put in a couple more. We're going for four traits and 2 flaws. So keep going. Let's get an idea of what type of character you're going to create. Okay, so we have our traits. We then go to talents. These are categorized into 6 groups, representing different types of experience and knowledge.
So we get 2 talents since we went with 4 traits.
Yeah, that's it. So players can choose their character talents, but of course you can roll. I like how this game is all about, there's lots of rolling. You can randomize absolutely everything, which is great. So what do we have? We have the adept, talents that are as much gifts as learnt skills. Bestial, talents that indicate a strong link with animals and instinctive behavior. The fighter, talents that enhance combat and hunting prowess. The oracle, talents that are concerned with power and prediction. The sorcerer, talents that grant strange and otherworldly skills. It did say stone and sorcery. And the specialist, talents that represent useful survival skills. So I'm able to have 2, and I'm thinking along that ranger type of path. So I do think specialist is the first one, for sure. And it would then be fighter, wouldn't it? Because we want to be good at hunting as well, and combat. So I think it's fighter and specialist.
Oh, see, I was thinking adept and bestial. Right.
Oh, does this mean you might get some sort of familiar pet? This is what you always get aimed for, isn't it? Yeah. This is what you're angling for, I can tell. Rogue has added resilient and strong to his character. So you need to decide what talents. So adept, so you had adept and bestial. So you actually see yours here on this page. So again, these can be randomized, but you can actually select. So you can take one of these sub classes. So in the adept, you've got dancer, mystic, serpent, shadower, storyteller, and thief. And for the bestial talents, beast tamer, savage, simian, snake charmer, soul eater, and tracker. All right.
Ooh.
Let me jump over then to find out what we've got over here. Oh, hang on. Where's mine? Where's mine? Oh, I was fighter, wasn't I? Fighter and specialist. Fighter was barbarian, brawler, caster, feral, hunter, and warrior. So I think hunter. And specialist was crafter, fire maker, fisher, gatherer, healer, and trapper. It's got to be fire maker, hasn't it? Got to have the fire maker. Yeah, I could have done simian fire maker. That would have been perfect.
I think I'm gonna do shadower and beast tamer.
Okay, Roger is wanting us to roll. So what we're going to do, Roger, you're going to have 2 starting talents. Red will determine the group. White will determine the subcategory. So here we go.
specialist trapper.
Oh, honestly, chat, I don't make this up. So you're a specialist trapper. Let's go for it again because it's one more. Yeah, it's close enough. I said red was the main, wasn't it? So it's 4. So that's an oracle, an oracle priest. So you're a priest that traps things. Okay.
Oh, that. Oh, the things that can be said. Just nope. Moving on.
Oh, goodness me.
Roger, that went all kinds of bad for you.
Yeah, Roger, you might have wanted to have chosen yours. Don't leave me with the dice. So we have some starting goods. Characters begin with basic clothes, a tunic, belt, and shoes, but they also start with something else. So let's see what I'm going to start with. What do we have? We have a bag, a bone knife, a fire making kit, a gourd. That's a container for water, isn't it? Rope. Gourd. That's it. Rope and what's a rushlight?
I mean, the only thing that's coming to mind is, like a torch.
Yeah, but it's 10,000 BC.
Like the. Yeah. But I mean, like an actual like fire torch, like when you use the the cattails.
Yes.
Right, the rushes, because they burn. So that's what I'm thinking.
That's it. No, yep. I'm okay. Good with that. Let's find out then. So this is what you've got, mystical. You have a bag.
No. Okay, that's what that's fine.
Okay, well, you can, or
I'm
you
good
can
with
have
bag,
some
because
rope.
that's what I was gonna pick.
Or you can have a rope. I've got rope then. I'll have rope. Because we're not giving the priest the rope. The priest can have 6, the rushlight.
Oh no. Oh no, why are we giving him the rushlight? He needs fire.
Okay. So you've got fire, Mr. Priest. Okay.
Oh no.
All right. So we've got some basic talents. We've got some skills. We've got some starting goods. Yeah.
Just make sure you don't confuse your rope with the nope rope.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so then we move on to character background. And this basically just gives us the descriptions to the traits that we have just been choosing. What traits did you go for, Mystical?
I went for accurate.
Yep. Okay, that's the very first one, isn't it?
And yeah,
let's find another one. Did you go for resilient?
Accurate. I went for resilient, and then I went for dexterous. And I never actually picked a 4th one. I just did 3, so I need another one.
Oh, well, there you go then. See, you can pick one from here. And it gives us a little bit of info so that we can just read up a little bit just to make sure it's the correct skill. So Roger, you can take a look at yours. What did you go for? I think you went for resilient, didn't you? So during a plague, the character remained healthy. The character was poisoned by a dangerous beast and managed to survive. The character fell from a great height but managed to stagger home to seek help. So these traits actually add to your character's background. It describes a little bit about your character.
See, mine's got to be the character fell from a great height and managed to stagger home because clumsy.
Yes. Yeah. I was dexterous, wasn't I? So, and wasn't I agile? Oh, here we go. This is an interesting one. A character escaped capture and was forced to flee, remaining on the run for many weeks. Yeah, that works for me. And
did you read the dexterous one?
Dexterous. Where's dexterous?
character likes to paint in caves or create body art.
Okay, different. I don't mind a bit of cave painting.
It's so perfect.
we can just be sat there just painting in caves. That's awesome. Well, actually, there's some great art later on, actually, with cave paintings, which of course is great. Accurate character killed an unusual, strange, or rare beast with a ranged weapon. So these are nice little descriptions about what we've done in the past. So then we move on to character's appearance. So we have a number of examples here. Accurate, agile, aware, brave, charismatic, dexterous, fortunate, guileful. So these are then the descriptions depending on what trait we choose. Then we've got some descriptions here. So again, you went with dexterous, didn't you?
I did.
So I don't quite know how this works. Graceful movements, fidgets, or thin fingers. So you could gracefully be falling over, I guess.
Hey, it can be done. I have done it. You just kind of whoop.
And again, and I give props to the designer here. We get another great example. Goes through and explains all the decisions, all the roles of creating their character. So if you are unsure about the process, then it has it all laid out here. And then we have a checklist. So
I love it.
We did the gender, we did the age, we had a name, we chose how many talents our character begins with, to which then we knew how many traits. We picked some flaws, so we've done those. We've got our starting goods, and then we flesh out our character by writing a few sentences about the character's appearance and background, to which we've already kind of done. So it now goes into more detail onto the talents, because this does add to our character. So I'm going to flip through, because we did do you remember which talents you chose? You were, let me just go back here.
A beast tamer and oh my gosh, what was the one for a shadower?
Beast tamer and shadow. Okay, I was hunter and fire maker, and Roger was priest and trapper. Okay, so let's see what we got. So we work our way through. Again, we have some wonderful artwork here. I really, really like the art. So, what's our first one? I'm going to have to look across and see. Shout if you see your character come up. I don't think we do for a while. Oh, Shadower was one, wasn't it?
Oh, there's Shadower.
Yep. So, many hunters become accomplished at sneaking, hiding, and even posing as animals in an effort to fool their prey. Some go beyond such skills to become one with shadow and gloom, training their bodies to twist and contort so that they can also at will appear other than human. Okay, so it gives you a little bit of description and then actually talks about it in game terms. And you do have some additional starting goods. So, shadowers can also attempt to disguise themselves as a person they have previously met. At the GM's discretion, this might require the shadower to wear something known to be worn by the subject. The shadower can also contort their body so that they appear to be an animal roughly the same size. So you can look maybe like from your shadow, you could look like a ferocious animal. That's really cool. So a
I
deer
love it. I
form
picked the right thing.
might attract a hunter towards an ambush.
Oh, look, I get a bag.
And you get another bag. And you get a grass cloak, linen tunic, armlet, ear feather, and pigment.
And a hood,
Yeah.
which is armor.
Yeah. This is cool, and it's so different, yeah?
Yeah.
Storyteller, thief, which we have a nice little table on. Again, we got some wonderful artwork here. That's beautiful. So we get to the bestial trait, and then we have beast tamer. So,
Yes.
oh yes, here we go. So the beast tamer talent allows a character to have an animal companion. You just want to know which animal you get, really, isn't it? Let's jump to it. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Ha 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 ha! I'm just looking at what the selection is. Oh, okay. That's a 3. You get a lizard, a Komodo. Komodos have a scent.
Oh, I have to name it Joanna.
it.
Its name is Joanna, so I can yell at it and go, "Those aren't Joanna eggs."
Oh gosh. So Komodos have a scent organ used when they flick their tongue, and they can be commanded to detect living beings or dead things, even if they are hidden. The lizard will travel to the nearest source as long as it's within bow range. Okay, so
10 points to anyone who gets that reference.
I've got no idea. So I moved on. Come on,
It's from the it's
no,
a
don't
Disney
tell
movie.
him. Don't tell him, because Rogan might get it.
Come on, Keith. I have faith in you.
The other option was a howler monkey. Because who doesn't want a monkey companion? Hey, you know.
Yeah.
I like that. I like it. And you get some starting goods. Again, hood armor, a bag, a hunk of meat, 1 weapon. So it could be an antler spike, a bone, a hide whip, a horn stake, a sling with stones, or a wood spear. I'll just do a quick roll.
Oh,
Let's see what you get.
I want that whip.
You get a horn stake instead. You get a stake.
Oh.
Hey, you know, that's not bad. So what have we got? We got all the different beast type of ones. We do have the simian. We're going to keep going. Again, awesome artwork. I think we're
Also, I want to point out this game gave me a dragon.
Yes. Well, there you go. What more could you ask for, yeah? So I'm going to hunter, aren't I? So let's go to the hunter. There it is. I'm going to start with some weapons. So let's find out what I get. I wanted a longbow, don't I? 4. I get a sling with stones. So not quite what I wanted, but it's okay. We'll go with that. But a blowpipe, longbow, self-bow, sling, fire-hardened spears, or a bundle of wood spears. We got warriors. Then we move on to the oracle. So we have the chief. Again, these are just very unique kind of characters, aren't they?
Yeah.
Cultist, priests and priestesses. Priest. So this is you, Roger. Let's find out what you can do. Oh my goodness. Okay. So So, a priest is able to gain the favor of their god with a successful charismatic test. This can be attempted once per day. So these favors take the form of a second chance, allowing the player to re-roll a failed test once at the cost of a favor. Only one favor can be used per test, however. Priests can make a sacrifice prior to making the test to acquire favors, and by doing so might gain an additional favor.
And you gave him fire, so he could just run around burning people.
What does it say? Example: a character with 4 traits must sacrifice 1 or more items with a value of 4 or more gems. When items are sacrificed, they are considered used. So, food. See, food. We only have to have food as an offering. Cast into a lake or broken. Incense would be burned. Oil poured away.
Oh, careful with that word, monkey.
Yeah, I noticed. Yeah. So, attempts by the priest or priestess to use the goods that have been sacrificed will result in the loss of their god's favor, so that no tests to gain favor can be made for 2d6 days.
Oh.
Okay, so yes, you're not having to thankfully you're not having to sacrifice people or animals.
Although it is just an option.
It possibly is, isn't it? But
Yep.
yes, it seems more items. So food and oils. We got a ritualist, a seer, soothsayers. So we got quite a few characters. Let's move on because we got to. I think it was the hunter, wasn't it? Let's look. Is that effigy maker? We got shamans and summoners. Specialist, that's what we were looking for. So we had fire maker. This fire maker can make fire without a test being required. So you need to have a fire making kit. That's okay, because I'll have one of those. You can always do with making fire. And then Roger was the trapper. So we can take a look at that. There we go. Trappers are accomplished at constructing, discovering and disarming traps. These are used to capture animals for food or sometimes to deter trespassers. And a few little details there.
Roger walks around with my character just going, nope, don't sit there. Nope, don't sit there. Nope, don't sit there.
Okay, so we've gone through all of the traits there. So, character improvement. As characters survive and have experiences, their skills improve and their knowledge increases. An adventure is an individual scenario. Yep. So, a new trait costs stories equal to the character's number of traits plus the number of flaws they have. For example, a character that has 4 traits and 1 flaw can gain a 5th trait by spending 5 stories. So this is essentially your experience points, isn't it?
Yeah.
When an adventure is concluded, the player writes a story, which in this case is a single sentence recording a title for the adventure. So adventure descriptions such as the abducted tribe member was saved. What happened when we explored the Scorpion ruins? When a character has accumulated enough stories, they can be spent. And in doing so, the character can improve. Okay, so you basically just need to do a few little adventures, build up those story points. I like that. Again, it's very thematic, isn't it? Because you'd tell these stories around a fire. Okay, it then goes on to aging. So we did choose our ages before, didn't we? So aging adds a sense of realism to the setting and develops the history of the character. If aging is used, a character moves up one age category at the conclusion of every 5 stories. That's cool. So when a character reaches old age, they can take part in 5 more stories. At this point, they are deemed ancient. So they're about 30. Thereafter, the players must make an aging roll at the conclusion of each story. An aging roll is a roll on the trait table found in the character creation section. So, eventually, yeah, you can die of old age. That's cool. That's cool. I suppose, mate, is there something that it says here? There we go. Characters that survive beyond old age can be retired and might become a parent of a new character. This is a great way to establish a family dynasty and creates an ongoing family lineage. Alternately, a player can continue with the character who is therefore simply described by others as ancient or grizzled. I like the idea of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, working your way through your family. Maybe maybe your son or your daughter is able to have maybe some of your original skills because they grew up with you, but maybe they wanted to veer off in a different direction. I think that's quite an interesting way of creating new characters, but still within the same family. And again, at the back of the book, there is the name index, so you can give yourself your sort of family, give a family name, and you can keep that going forward, can't you? That's cool. Like it. So it did tell us a little bit as we were going through our creation about the different goods that we acquire. And so here we are. We can then get a little bit more detail on what those actual items are. So you talked about having a hood, didn't you?
I did, yes.
So head armor, hide hood, I think it was.
It just said hood.
Okay. So is there something about hoods? Or is this where you basically can purchase? So you can have armor for your head, your torso, your arms, and your legs. So we have here. Oh, okay. So you can craft in the game, which is great. So it does say here you can have a hood. It costs you 4, whatever. It wouldn't be coins, would it? Whatever the bartering system might be. It's made of hide and sinew, and it's a scrapper is the crafting tool that you need. But you can make torso armor.
Do you think it would be like bone?
Yeah. I think most of the tools are going to be made out of either bone or...
No, I mean like your currency.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
Because not only could you you have to give me this many pieces of bone, but then that bone can also then be used to make weapons. So like you could use like the currency could be like finger bones and stuff like that you can use for like smaller things or like for the mystics it could be their when they read the bones and stuff like that. But that could be interesting too because your currency could be used for other stuff. So you kind of got to wait. Do I use it to craft or do I use it to buy? That would be fun. Well,
you see, thankfully, the designer thought of all these things. And they do state that in the Paleomythic world there is no coinage. Trade is conducted by barter or by using gems. Gems are precious or semi-precious stones, usually small fragments that have been polished. They are rarely much larger than a fingernail size. So gems are a convenient way to trade, and many settlements will accept them as payment for goods. So we're doing everything in gems. I guess we're at a time when, you know, there's so many of them. They're just, hey, there you go. Here, have this handful of diamonds. It'll get me a hat.
Yeah.
So we have limb armor, we have shields, we then have weapons, axes, bludgeons, knives, spears. Again, it details swords, and it's like, hang on a second, swords, and then what do we have? A bone sword, or a flint shard sword, or an obsidian shard sword. So this is cool. It's so cool. I like the idea of a bone sword. That's really cool.
No, it's not. So like bone weapons would not be as great as you think they are because they'd be so easily broken.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. So obsidian maybe, is that what we want?
Obsidian would be better because you can get a sharper edge to it.
Yeah.
But if you hit it wrong, or rather if you hit it just right, it will break.
Yeah.
But it is tougher. So because you can actually I've seen videos of people making obsidian spearheads and that, and when they're shaping the sides of it, they actually do use a bone tool to hit the obsidian in the right way to break it.
Oh right, okay. Oh cool. And we got a flint as well.
Yes.
Yes. I like how it does describe flint sharp swords cause jagged wounds. It's definitely you know, enjoying the fact of let's describe what type of wounds these weapons will create. We have missile weapons, so we got arrows and blowpipes and darts, slings. We then have various containers. Keep things in. Various clothes. Of course, you know, as we've seen in the illustrations, that we do have our characters. We have this continent, of course, has obviously very warm tropical jungles, but also cold Arctic regions. So we've got a whole variety. We go from bikinis all the way up to mittens and hoods and jackets. Yeah, we need to have everything. Curiosities. God statues. And then we have healing. So we're going through obviously all the items that we could possibly pick up or barter for. Various tools. Again, lots of nice tables. And then luxuries. What kind of luxury? A bull roarer, a musical instrument, carved wooden sliver attached to a cord, twirled to make a sound. And then, you know, we do want to obviously furnish our cave, so we've got cave furnishings. I think
excellent.
So we have bed mats and cushions and rugs.
The latest fashion.
It is, yes. Food and drink. But you know, I think we've moved beyond caves, given that. the kind of illustration that was on the front, we kind of do have a city, an ancient prehistoric city there, don't we? And deserts.
Yeah.
So this continent does contain all the different types of climates. Okay, so it moves on then to actually adventuring and combat. So here's an interesting point. Turn order. So you have to make an awareness test, and that will then determine whether you have the initiative. So awareness potentially is a trait we might want to consider in our characters if we want to be first in combat. Otherwise, other creatures or characters may jump on us when we are unaware. And it just details movement and what sort of ranges. That's very, very simple. Hand to hand combat is of course the closest. We then go to throwing a rock, throwing a spear, using a bow and arrow, and then we could just see them far off in the distance. And that's basically it.
Very simple.
Yeah, nice and easy. Chases and escapes, and then straight on to fighting. As it says, Paleomythic combat is a savage battle involving sharp blades, deadly bludgeons, claws, bites and kicks. Combatants rarely escape a fight unscathed, and characters should therefore approach fighting with caution. I guess that's the thing, isn't it? Is that it's potentially one of those games where, in other games, you can go into combat and you think your weapons are going to protect you, your armor's going to protect you. But in this, it's just going to be so much more brutal that, and there's not necessarily the potions, the healing spells that you are used to. You get hit, you may not survive it. Yeah, life is very, very fragile in this time period.
Heck,
so,
you climb something to look to see how far you can see, to look for something, and if you make a wrong roll or something and you fall, you might not survive it.
Yeah. Everything really does have a risk to it, and I read an article this week, in fact. And it was somebody talking about role-playing and realizing that so their party had got to the point where near enough every character was dead. And it elevated a sense of sort of urgency with the last remaining player because, well, if I die, then that's it. Our entire party is dead. Our game is over. There's nobody to heal everybody else. And, what do we do? Where do we go from here? But as the person was describing, it was one of the most thrilling games that they'd all participated within. They all walked away with a story because it's a rare occurrence. And the sort of risk-reward nature of the experience, it was so much a much more heightened experience for them because danger was so very tangible to them at that time. And I feel that this game will have that sort of element to it as well. As you say, just climbing a tall tree could be fatal. It's.
I mean, in our D&D game that I play in the evenings tonight, that's how our game is played. We had one player climb a cliff to try to get higher ground to see what they could see because we were like very down low, and they fell and they were knocked right below zero and they had to be healed. It is so much fun playing like that, and it's terrifying as well. Terrifying.
I think the way this article read was that in a lot of our gaming, and this is not necessarily just tabletop role playing, but board games and video games, death doesn't really mean that much. Usually we let's just start again, and off we go. But But if you have invested so much time into a character and, you know, if then death is ever so close, just like ourselves, you know, you don't want it to happen. You want to actually fight and be protective of your character. So, yeah, I think this would be an interesting element. Given the time period, I think it brings that to the fore so much more.
We've had that feeling with people's familiars or their pets in game as well. Like,
yes, yeah,
just the sheer amount that people will go to, like, because even our chat will like be screaming in chat to save this animal, or like, don't you kill it, don't you do it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I can imagine. Yes. So it does give a quick summary here. Armed melee attacks use the trait Brave, unarmed melee attacks use the trait Strong, and ranged attacks use the trait Accurate. So good to know that before you actually go and create your character, depending on what kind of fighting style you might go for. It did explain it over there, but it's a nice reminder, isn't it?
yes, very.
And if there's going to be all of this injuries happening, then we do need a way to recover. So we do have a little section on here, and we then do have defense and armor. And again, it summarizes the effect there. So one piece of armor negates one wound. When a piece of armor is used, it is damaged and no longer effective until repaired. Wow. So you potentially need somebody who's good at crafting then, who can repair armor up every time you go into combat.
Yeah. And that would become like your nightly routine before you go to sleep. You sit there and repair armor and weaponry and everything like that, so that you have it.
So then we have tactics.
That could be really bad, because if you forget to say that you're doing that,
yes,
it doesn't get
Yes, I think the games master just suddenly becomes very, very silent and lets the party decide its own fate.
Yep.
Yeah, that would be quite cool. Tactics. So rather than making an attack to injure an opponent, player characters and humanoid foes can use other tactics. Tactics are employed in place of a normal attack and count as the character's action for the turn. So this is interesting. Again, because the combat, I suppose, is... I'm going to say it's limited. It's because it's a smaller scope, but then there's more depth to what you're able to do. So we got feint. We have leap and rally and restrain and shove and smash and strangle and take and trick. So quite a few different things you can do as part of combat, which is interesting. I like this. It near enough sort of builds up some sort of kind of combat dance, doesn't it, a little bit? Not necessarily having to I'm going to kill, jab with my sword over and over and over again. So it then goes on to weapons and making use of those weapons. To which it did say this is going to be quite a bloody game. Destroy, disarm, entangle, fraction, gore, gouge, impale, impede, intimidate. Oh my goodness. Pain, pierce, rend, ruin, slam, slice, smash, splinter, trip, and ward. So there is so much that you're able to do. This is pretty bad. So when making use of a weapon, the weapon effect is triggered when a 6 is rolled on the weapon bonus die. The effect is in addition to the wound caused by the attack. Only weapons cause effects. An unarmed character cannot cause an effect. So at the GM's discretion, some effects might not apply to certain foes. So the nature of the effect depends on the weapon in use. Each weapon in the goods list has a noted effect. So you'd be able to see what type special effect you are able to do. So that's all pretty brutal stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, where this book is definitely shining, it gives a great example of combat. So we've read through it all.
That picture is awesome.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it describes then essentially 7 turns of how the character is going through combat. Which is cool. And then we move on to slightly less bloody activities. Other things that your characters are able to do. Bribery, climbing, crafting, repairing items, escaping, foraging. And we have a list of, this is quite cool, random foods. You forage. That's cool. Hunting. So you can go and hunt. Leaping and loads. Locks. Oh, we always have to have a good lock, don't we? Performance and scavenging. Swimming. Theft and trading. So plenty of different activities. And then we have hazards. The lands of ancient Mu are hazardous. So we have exposure. Fear and fire. Poisons. Starvation. Here's your traps. Be able to discover or disarm or trigger. That's a nasty spike trap there. And then of course constructing the actual trap itself. All the traps, needle traps, pit traps, rope traps, spike traps, stumble traps. You don't need a stumble trap.
No, I am the stumble trap.
You just naturally do that. So there's a lot of information there, and to sort of give your characters things to be able to do in the world, isn't there? So then we start getting a little bit of background information on the world of ancient Mu. And what's it saying here? So there are 4 main environments. In the north, the terrain is mountainous in places, verdant and forested in the others. Harsh weather in Mu with cold, snowy winters, stormy autumnal seasons, moderate spring and summer seasons. In the east is dense jungle. In the south is mostly arid. And in the west, it's a temperate region with woodlands, hills and valleys. So that's nice and handy. we got all the major climate and environmental types just nicely mapped out north, south, east and west. We have some various societies. And then it details customs and laws. Pretty much this is everything in the here and now, but then we get the otherworld. So this is where it takes a bit of an interesting turn. The otherworld exists alongside the mortal world, but can be seen and accessed only by ghosts or a shaman. The otherworld is a cold, dark mirror of the mundane world where the ghosts wander aimlessly in a state of perpetual decay. The otherworld has its own rulers and kings, its own lands and its own cities. The lands are populated by the ghosts of the dead, who once were mortal, although these ghosts are shadows of their former living selves and lack many of the memories of their former lives. So the otherworld has many of the same features, terrains and structures as the mortal world in roughly the same places. Sometimes the otherworld retains features that have long since been changed or lost in the mortal world. Thus, in the otherworld, there might be ancient ruins that have long been rumbled in the mortal world. I'm feeling a little bit of the upside down here. Would you agree?
Yeah.
But again...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is really awesome stuff. I like it.
It reminds me of Brother Bear.
What's that?
When Brother Bear is a movie, and the whole concept is it's three brothers go bear hunting,
Right.
and one is killed by the bear, and the other two chase after it, trying to get revenge. And the spirit, so like the earth spirit, turns one of them into a bear to see the other side.
Right. Oh, okay. Interesting. Can you... So when it... Ooh. So it says, given the bleakness of the other world, it would seem unlikely that anyone would willingly enter such a place. However, the other world, as bleak as it is also a place of lost and obscure knowledge. A shaman will know this, and it is for this reason that they pass into the other world. So... hidden among the mysterious ruins, forgotten temples and dead forests, or within the foreboding caverns, there are ghosts who can be interrogated and who will impart knowledge to a shaman. Can only the shaman go across? Can the shaman take the rest of the party?
That's an interesting thing. Yes, I think they could.
A shaman can enter the other world by performing a ceremony. This takes roughly an hour to do so, and often requires certain materials. Oh, here we go. In addition, the shaman can bring other willing subjects into the other world if they are present during the ceremony. Yes. However, a shaman is limited in the number of persons he or she can bring, and this limit equals the normal number of traits possessed by the shaman. And it did say that if the shaman dies in the mortal world, they die in the other world. And I think is that vice versa as well? If the physical body of a character is killed, the spirit is trapped forever in the other world. Yeah.
But it does not say that if their spirit is damaged or killed,
no.
that it's trapped. It probably, if that happens, you're probably just like thrown back into your body and you're out of it.
So it says it should be evident then that when a character enters the other world, their physical form is extremely vulnerable. So it'd have to be somewhere very, very safe to be able to do this entering of the other world. But then, I mean, it did say stone and sorcery, so we're getting our sorcery side now.
Yep.
We have encounters in the other world. Look at this, like ghost panthers.
Oh, look.
Isn't this awesome? There is combat, finding a wraith. And then there is tests of will and forbidden lore. Ah. So, the reason a shaman risks their life to enter the otherworld is to find a wraith. Wraith are ancestor spirits that have retained much of their memories and that were renowned, powerful, or notorious in life. So by defeating the wraith, you are able to acquire forbidden lore. So a new trait that is acquired, a new talent is acquired, the location of a fabulous treasure, the entrance to a long-forgotten tomb, the location of a strange herb can bring a person back from the dead, or the location of a magical weapon or ancient artifact. That's quite cool. I like it.
I love everything about this game so far. It's there's so much to it, and it's just great.
And I like the fact that it is different. Yeah, we've played so many fantasy style or sci-fi style, and yeah, prehistoric is something we haven't explored. So this is really cool. We're then looking at tribes, and this is obviously for the GM, isn't it? Giving us lots of background info, beliefs and ceremonies. We have...
They have a rabbit on a spit.
Well, that's tea. You know.
It's a rabbit on a spit.
Gotta eat something.
I know.
We got dwellings and size of the tribe. So again, another example. This book is full of examples, which is great.
Which is really handy because there's sometimes you're not quite sure what things entail, and this just is like, hey, this is what this is.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Sure. So we got an example of the Cloud People. Now, a small tribe that is suitable to use as a tribe to which the PCs belong. So this is on the edges of the southern moon, known as the Red Wastes. There are 3 tribes. And so it goes through, it describes the tribe's belief, and then ceremonies, grand and deaf, and gathering, and laws, and dwellings, and their leader, and then the size of the actual tribe itself. 4 women, 4 boys, 4 men, 1 boy and 2 girls. And then we have a example, Amdar, who is a young man of the tribe. So we have their traits and their flaws and their talents, and what goods they're actually carrying. And in fact, it goes into even more detail. This is a great example. We have the other characters of the tribe. And again, awesome artwork. And then we move on. Tribes being the smallest grouping of people. So we go to settlements. Settlements are places where permanent buildings and large communities have been established, as opposed to the temporary gatherings of nomads and traders. So we have to determine the purpose of the settlement. And again, much like the tribes, we have their beliefs, their dwellings, their leader, their organization. Again, lots of nice charts. And their size. And as we're becoming accustomed to, There's a great example. So this is Bitten Point, a small settlement in the snowy part of northern Mu, in an area of forests and fast-flowing rivers, icy streams and high mountains. And then we have various places. And this then helps describe the various areas that we are able to explore. And then the stranger places of ancient Mu. So we do have basic, simple ones, the many lands tables. But then we have stranger, more interesting, more unique places. And it gives us a little bit of text just to fire the imagination. And this is where we could then expand upon it. Maybe we can have an adventure in the obsidian desert or the city that was. We've already introduced a little bit of the otherworld element, the sorcery elements. We now have the gods of ancient Mu.
I said that and my cat just meowed at me.
So we've got multiple gods here. We got quite a few. So basically gods have influence and idols, customs, prevalences and worship. And it breaks down each of these. We have primordial gods and then prevailing gods. Oh, there's quite a few. Oh yes, there's a lot of gods. I feel like I'm in a Terry Pratchett novel here where there's just so many different gods.
And with the names.
Yes, yeah. I'm not even attempting any of the names.
I noticed.
Yes, I'm skipping right past all the names. Okay. So we got lots of gods.
These ones aren't so bad though.
No, I'm moving past. I'm
Colada.
already. Which one have you done?
Yeah, not so bad.
Which one did you do?
On the previous page.
I can do Molaku. Nebka. Oh yeah, Colada.
See, they're not so bad.
Pina. So we then have adversaries. Again, artwork is awesome, isn't it? So good.
Yeah.
So what do we have? We have various foes, non-human opponents, and beasts and beast men. We also have human opponents, so we have the beasts. So what do we have? We have apes and bats and bears, bear dogs, birds and boars, bovids, and canines, crocodiles, deers, and elephants. Felines. I'm not sure I'd like to go up against any of those because they're going to be much larger, aren't they?
Yeah.
and just waiting in prey up in the trees.
Fish.
Fish. I mean, yeah, it's all Earth-like creatures, but as it depicts here... Oh, too fast. You know, that scorpion, it's a bit larger than
Yeah.
than your typical scorpion, yeah? So I think you can assume that...
I think... Yeah. I think our rodents would be rodents of unusual sizes.
Well, rodents are small mammals, including rats and mice. Does it actually say they're generally smaller than mice? Yeah.
But they do not say how small is. Is it small compared to the scorpion or small compared to us?
Well, there you go. Rats can be larger with one type, the giant rat, growing to as much as 1 meter in length.
Oh, great.
So, okay, the giant rat's 1 meter, and it goes down from there. What does it say about scorpions?
But that's in length. It doesn't say anything about height. Yeah. I'm still scared.
It does say that there is a giant. Oh, here we go. So it does go in. Giant scorpions grow as long as a human forearm. They are black in colour, with very large pincers. So that's as large as a forearm. The empress scorpion are said to exist within the desert regions. They are bigger than a human and make fearsome and deadly opponents. An empress scorpion. We're going to skip right past the S's.
Yep. Yep.
Thankfully, there are no pictures. I can handle the scorpion. I'm quite happy with. We don't need to look anywhere else. We go to beastmen, the boar brothers and tail sisters. So that's interesting. But then we have a great illustration on the next one. So the dog fiends of the Mountain of Skulls. So we have dogmen.
Don't know how to feel about that.
Yeah. So, and then we got the serpents of the Forgotten Ruins and the toad things of the Black Obelisk. Oh my goodness. So we're getting little bits of history here and little... These are areas where they can be found. And then we have the dead. So creatures that are not of the mortal world. So we have cadavers and skeletons.
I wonder if you can, like, as a beast tamer, if you can still tame the spirits.
Oh, that's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh. The animated dead include cadavers and skeletons of men and animals brought to life by bone chanters. Such creatures are rotting, decaying things that have been given a semblance of life by having a spirit forced back into the original body. Such beings are mostly mindless and governed more by instincts than reasoning. This sort of dead is affected normally by attacks in the mortal and other world. Right. This game has everything, doesn't it?
Yeah. And it's so cool.
Cat spirits, scorpion spirits.
Oh, great.
Oh my gosh, we got spider spirits. I don't want it. It's bad enough them being in the real world. I don't need them in the undead world as well.
No.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. You see, this is what I needed. So, in fact, all of that is accessible really to the player. So we're up to page 239. It was only just saying this is the Games Master section. But I love this. The very first thing Pronunciation. This needed to be at the beginning, especially for me. So it's Mew. Mew, Mew.
Mew.
Mew. So it talks a little bit about the language.
Roger said, don't say the S word to mystical.
The S word, yes. No, no, no.
Yeah.
No, we skipped the S word, don't worry. Talk about time and travel and maps. Oh, this would be so cool. You get to do like ancient maps in that style.
Oh, that's amazing.
Oh, that's
and if you chose dexterous as one of your traits and you do like cave painting and that, you could actively keep like a piece of hide on you that you like drew out a map as you traveled on it.
That's so cool.
Or draw it on your body too, because that could be, if you didn't have it, just like, or on somebody else's like back, and you've given them a back tattoo of a map of the area.
Right. That's cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
It does say though, it says that there are no maps known to exist depicting the continent of ancient Mew. Mew, Mew, Mew.
Mew, Mew.
But that's talking about the entire continent. So
Yes.
it opens it up for us to be able to explore as we see fit. But you could do local maps. So that'd be fine.
And it opens it up to letting your GM really make this their own world.
Yeah. That's cool. I like the idea of being able to do prehistoric maps and as you say, cave painting style-y. I think that would be a really fun little project.
I love the idea. I love the idea of like you're traveling and you come across an abandoned or deserted like area that you can clearly tell was some sort of encampment for like for large people, and like any type of rock surface has maps drawn on it of the area.
Oh, right. Yes, like it. No, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Very, very cool.
It then talks about weather. So again, lots and lots of tables for us to roll on, which is great. And then going into different adventure types. So conflict. So what's it saying here? Adventure types include, but not limited to, conflict, travel, specialist, and a type of adventure that harks back to the early days of role-playing called paleo-delving.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay. So conflict is got to be just the case of we need to have a disagreement and let's fight. And again, we have tables to be able to roll and to generate our conflict adventure. We can roll on what the disagreement is, and we roll on the types of activities that we need to do. Okay, so that quickly creates a little scenario for us. We have the travel. So we have the reasoning, primary location, and some of the challenges that we might face. So here we go. Let's take a look. Paleo-delving. So among the many different types of stories that can be told with the Paleomythic rules, some of the most enjoyable are those involved in exploration in underground caves and amid forgotten ruins. Such stories hark back to the early days of fantasy RPGs, the days of dungeon delving adventures. These type of games are easy to design, and so there's little in the way of plot that needs to be considered beyond an explanation as to why the characters must explore the place. That's cool. Like it. Yeah, a good old, let's just go around some corridors and well, caverns and catacombs in this sort of sense, isn't it? That's cool.
It almost it gives a feel, especially for this this world and based off of those pictures and that you could very much pull from A Journey to the Center of the Earth
Yes,
and
yes,
make
yes,
it that
yes.
kind of style. Yeah.
Yeah, like it. Like it. Yes, you could end up walking through some rock caverns, and then it opens up into a huge underground cavern which has its own sort of jungle life, and
Water,
it's
everything.
Yeah. Genesis Project World.
Yeah.
Oh, you won't get that one. You won't get that one. Because it's a Star Trek reference. All the Star Trek fans instantly went, yeah, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about the Genesis.
Yeah, no, I'm just
torpedo.
yep, I'm just going to smile and nod.
Smile and nod. Because you have to watch our other video on Star Trek. But this is cool. Yeah. So I'd enjoy doing the maps for this as well. So area type, illumination, what's on the floor, and what type of portals. That's cool. That's really cool. I like it. And again, just gives you everything. So what type of features, types of walls. Obviously, the designer must have liked that style of gaming to sort of, add this section. That's cool. And then a little bit here about the theme. Atmosphere, fight, puzzles, sensory, trap, treasure. Okay. And then going off it's just covering everything. So game variants. So Paleomythic has a very specific setting and tone defined as stone and sorcery, in which characters are adventurers in a fantasy prehistoric world. The Paleomythic world assumes a variable level of technology and society, somewhere around what archaeologists used to call the various stone ages. However, Paleomythic can be made more historically realistic, more paleo and less mythic. So, yeah, this is really cool. So it does go through, and you can tweak the actual game. And then you can also move it forward to classic sword and sorcery.
Very, very cool.
This is really good, isn't it? And then you can downplay the prehistoric fauna. I like it. And emphasize civilizations. So we then... That's pretty much brought us to the end. Because the next section is actually the adventure. And we don't want to focus in on this. But what I'm going to do... I'm just going to jump...
No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers. But we're just going to jump to the character sheet. There you go. So you can see how you would fill that out. And
oh, that's cool.
That's nice and easy, isn't it? And just before...
Yeah.
Let me just make sure I only go so far. I don't want to ruin anything. So it's that table just there. So let's go back. There you go. So you've got your random name table that has more detail to it. And more tables for random talents. Just making it easier to roll. And then some pre-generated characters. So there you go. That's basically it. I really like this. I really like it. It's an interesting setting, something that we've not looked at before. I think it's really well realized. Lots of lots of detail, lots of examples, which make it very, very handy for new players and games masters to get a handle on it. It's very open for interpretation, so it can be as complex or as simple as you like, but then the rules themselves are pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So it's more about the adventuring, isn't it, and enjoying the world than having to micromanage your character with its various equipment or its skills and abilities, things like that. And I think I would enjoy creating some interesting stories in this world, because it's not as if you've got it's open for your interpretation. You've got a setting.
Completely so.
Yeah, you've got a setting, and it's giving you some interesting little points where go, okay, well, you know, maybe you think about this, but you can then expand upon it and take things that you might have seen in pop culture. Again, we have mentioned this before, but I'm thinking of the video game Horizon Zero Dawn. If you take the technology out of it and actually just make it prehistoric, there you go. We're kind of there, aren't we, a little bit? So I think the types of experiences, the types of challenges that you might have experienced in that game would easily be able to be incorporated into this. Be a good source of inspiration. But I've gone back to the front cover here, and as much as it talked about settlements and then about tribes and then settlements, I'm looking at that picture and that just looks a bit bigger than a settlement. That's making, and I can see this massive, what I'm thinking is a wooden gate. And we got towers, and it goes all the way up into the mountain. So,
you know what's the interesting thing that you could do about this is that, you know, we see it as it's set in a specific time. But what if that time is actually farther in the future, and this was a normal settlement, just like we are now, but things happened and time progressed, and instead of advancing, we reverted.
Which again is kind of the Horizon story, and I was literally just thinking about Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
So even though we've not got humanoid apes, but yes, so our ruins could potentially be the skyscrapers of today are the ruins of this future prehistoric world.
But they wouldn't know. It's, you know, it's so many generations past, they don't know what it is, because anyone who did, all that knowledge is lost.
Yes. Yep. No, I think that would be quite fantastic, a sort of setting. And the game, you know, again, because of the way it's been designed, it's very open for that interpretation if you wanted to do that with your players. So yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. Yeah, I like it. I'm going to spend a little bit more time reading through. I am really liking the idea of the maps. I think that creatively that's going to be a lot of fun. So I might have to fashion a map at the weekend.
Oh, please do. If you do, though, you have to age the paper.
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, I've got an idea for that. In fact, actually, I will be putting up one of my maps later this week, possibly Thursday. A map will be going up on social media. So I'll
Ooh,
have a look then.
exciting.
It's only a little one, but yeah, something I was playing with. Right, okay, well, I guess that pretty much brings us to an end. So our schedule is a little bit different this week. Typically we would play games on Thursday, but we've actually brought it forward. We're going to be doing it tomorrow, aren't we? And it's part two. We're leaving 10,000 BC and we are traveling to 2000 AD. We are going to the future and continuing our block war. Will the judges be turning up soon? Or will our towers still stand, given the amount of destruction and structural damage that we have caused?
Oh, we're going to blow it all up.
So that is what is happening tomorrow evening from 7 o'clock GMT +1. Looking forward to it. The conclusion of our play of Block Mania from Rebellion Unplugged.
Yes.
Great. Well, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks for joining in tonight. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. This is really good to look through, and I am going to plot and scheme for tomorrow's game.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. All right. We'll see you tomorrow then.
All right. Bye for now.
Bye now. Okay, so thanks to Mystical for joining in on tonight's show. As we say, we're going to be playing Block Mania tomorrow evening, so do join us then. Look forward to seeing you. But until tomorrow night, bye for now.